In December, I'll be in Beijing, opening up new pork markets.
Stove to serve to stove. The Nazi Brotherhood, I found they can be broke. Stove to serve to stove. The Nazi Brotherhood, I found they can be broke. Except I know the feeling, I think that's what they say. Always in the water, be or not be a day. Ain't no brotherhood, friends you never met. Paddling for the peak, or waiting for the sand. Your money's no good care or cares if you were broke. The ocean is a highway living up the stove. Which is best to say, but sometimes it's just beast. No matter where you stand, I'm sure you will agree. Stove to serve to stove. They don't see brotherhood upon they can be broke. Stove to serve to stove. They don't see brotherhood upon they can be broke. You got for everybody who's ever in the way. They are just a family we'll take to the grave. Don't drive in the room that you forget. When they're in the water you need to have respect. Stove to serve. Stove to serve, serve to stove, 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 stove to serve, serve to stove.
Samoa! Saungi e kau na kaua! Ia kau e makwakau! Ia whai e mawhai! Le manu, saungi a! Samoa e manu whai whaiva. Le manu Samoa e manu whai whaiva. Le manu Samoa nei wau sau. Nei sei si manu ole tu rau rau. Wau sau nei mane me ato. Oro maru si wato to. Yeah, fata whamai so ese. Le male nei manu e winga ese. Le manu Samoa, le manu Samoa. Le manu Samoa, oh my Samoa. Tau ia malo. Oh, nei malo. Tulai Samoa.
Star Million, what sort of music are you into?
I like a bit of everything, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like literally, like when music plays a big part in almost everything I do. Like if I'm with my wife, like she loves ABBA, so like there's a lot of ABBA played in my house.
Yeah.
My boys like a bit of everything, but yeah, no, it's like I can get down with pretty much any music, to be honest. That was a big tune. I was gonna ask you. You got to send me the link for that one after. So
I will. It's one of our like current top thrash metal bands that I think is really good because they're all singing Samoan. Like most of it's like in their own culture. So, but like all the music that they put out, you can basically read the lyrics to right, there, and you know exactly what it means and stuff. And so it's a really cool, kind of I mean, sometimes they explain it, but the lyrics are there in the language. And they've been around for a couple of years. I only found out about them last year, which is kind of,
Right.
and because that's only because somebody shared that they were coming to our town, like our city, and I was like, whoa, let's go see it. Who are these guys? And I listened on, and that's a great thing about YouTube, right? You can jump on YouTube and you can see them straight away if they've got like a video, or even like a what they call like a lyric video where it's just words on moving on
Oh,
screen.
like the lyrics. Yeah.
Yeah. So even with that, it's pretty cool. I mean, I've got a nephew who's just puts he's got the same photo on all his music that he's written himself and produced, and it's really high quality. And he's only like about 16, 17 years old, but really good singer. And so, I love to share our local music as well as young people, as well as like music from around the world, especially that I like heavy metal and stuff, and funk music, punk, stuff that gets, that's kind of like out there, which is, why I really get along well with indie creators, especially with the comic scene, because we kind of have this, like what I was talking to Naomi yesterday. I have this idea that we're the punks when it comes to, like, especially when you're self-publishing or as a new publisher, you're a punk, right, out there, and this, the mainstream's there.
In the corporate world kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. And so you get the joy and the fun of just doing what you want and writing what you want, which brings me to you today, because I we came across each other because of Twitter, and I enjoyed seeing your networking, basically. And this is, that's why I do this. It's your networking where you like allow people to share your screen in the sense of like your platform, which your Twitter following or whatever it is, and allowing them to post on that. And I thought that was very precious, and I think very important. And like, as I mentioned, like, on that time when you jumped in and in the chat, and I was like, yeah, I really value that. I think there isn't enough of that. And I think it's great to see that, because, it's something positive. This thing here can be quite snipey,
Yeah,
that,
like that's literally what my like whole like shtick was going into it. I was like, I had a story I wanted to create. Like I had no idea what to do with it. Like I've been writing for years, but never like I shared it with friends and family and whatnot. But never tried to publish anything. Never got an artist involved to this extent. And then like I was like, how do I go about doing this? Because I always wanted to make films when I was younger, but my careers advisor was like, no, go work on a building site. So that's gullible me. I was like, yeah, okay then. And then it's only taken like 18 years later for me to be like, yeah, do you know what? I want to create something. And when I jumped on trying to find somewhere to learn about it, I know it's not the same for everyone, because I've spoken to a few people and they were like, oh no, I came in and everyone was really nice to me and stuff, and I was like, no one was mean or rude to me or anything, but it's just a back and forth. I constantly saw like this person was having a go at this person, and then their followers were jumping on them, so I was just like, that's not me. And then I saw that Comics for Everyone, Tom Patu, so I was like, like this is a much nicer place. The only thing then, it was like not a lot of people actually, like there's a lot of likes and a lot of shares, but not many comments. And like I just noticed, like whenever I would put like a comment like, oh, this is great, like this is like, I like this, I like that, even something small, like you straight away it's like, thank you so much. And it's yeah, so I just wanted to kind of make that space for people. So like obviously I saw what he was doing. I was like, well, I'll start doing a share thing. Like obviously he's got like 20,000 followers. Like I'm very humble with my 2,500. I was like, oh yeah. But like I try to comment on every single person that shares. I try to quote or at least repost every single person. I try to comment, quote tweet every single person, because that actually gets it out to everyone that's following me. And it's like if someone's said something on it, you kind of break that ice for other people to be like, oh no, that is good, like kind of thing. So a lot of people are, I don't know, maybe self-conscious about kind of speaking positive thoughts on the internet, where negative ones just that's no one really seems to have a problem with that. But yeah, so I just wanted to create a positive space, really.
Awesome. And so for you guys who are just listening in, or on the replay, this is what we're talking about. This is Star Million's page here on Twitter, and it's of course he's sharing his own stuff, but you can see across this page there's so much more going on, and other people's creative things coming on, reposts and stuff like that. And it's just great to see. And one thing I like about this, like whenever I see something like this, I just go in and go, oh yeah, let's follow that. That's comics. Yep, creating comics, and it's always cool to see that. And, you choose what you want, what you don't want. And I think the great thing is that Twitter has become kind of like, like my sister left Twitter a couple of years ago because she said it was just so cesspoolish,
Yeah.
There's just this muck. And, and I try to like stay away from that sort of thing. Every now and then I'll go post something, and then all now I do is just post interviews, what we do, and videos, because I think that's the only way to really get people to look at the other creators, for me, that I think of, because that's all I do. I just do videos, so, and I think it's such a, if you can use it, it's such a great platform for doing that, and you're doing it really well. And so without getting more deeper into that, I'm going to put you on solo. So, I'll get you to introduce yourself, and then we'll bounce into it all. Now, before I do that, how long have I got with you?
I've got another thing at like 1 o'clock. It's because obviously the time difference, and
Yeah, so it's about 1:15 here now. So was it like an hour, half an hour?
So yeah, I'll probably jump off at like 10 to, like, so we got like 50 minutes, like, well,
Excellent.
no,
I'll
I've
keep an eye on
got
that,
like 45 minutes, but yeah, it's
Awesome.
all good kind of thing.
No, it's good. I mean, it's good to keep getting out there, because, like, we got a Kickstarter on, so I got to make sure that you get it to let you get to as many as possible to promote this. So, Star Million, take it away.
Yeah, so like this is the first comic that I've created. It's not the first I've written, but it's it's the first that anyone's actually going to get to see. I'm not going to lie, as I like started looking into it, everything was very daunting, like the price to get a good artist, to find a good artist. So yeah, that took a while, but yeah, so Orium's been taking 2.5 years now to create. We're finally funding now. We're fully funded, hoping to hit the next stretch goal, which is £600. I'm not too sure what it is in all the other currencies, but if we do that, it's an additional print for all physical backers. And so yeah, it's a dark sci-fi thriller which was born out of boredom when I worked at a science museum. So yeah, it follows Robert. He's got an ancient metal in his bloodstream, which is Orium, and it pretty much allows him to do some pretty cool stuff. There's a lot of inspiration taken from different things, like Terminator 2. So the T-1000 scarred me as a child. So that stuck with me. So there's a lot of things like that. He's able to change parts of his body into like blades and pointy objects, which it's been fun. Fun to do, fun to create. And what the biggest problem probably has been the length of time that I've been doing it, because the longer you're creating something, I found you're like, oh, this works better if I do it like this and then this. And so Orium started off as a 4-page comic in 2015 in the Science Museum here in London. And literally, as the years went by, the idea grew and grew. And then I started working as a night security guard, just me on my own for 12 hours in this building. So I was like, you know, I'm actually going to write it. And next thing I know, I've got like 32 pages, and I'm like,
Awesome.
okay, now I need to find an artist. So
Yeah.
that was the next job with it.
So how, like, I mean, you know, you did the 4-page. Where did that idea come from? You know, what is Orion, by the way? And like, you know, how does it work, and where did it come from for the concept for it?
Yes. So basically, I like literally, I was talking to one of the scientists in the science museum, and we were, I think we were talking at the time. Tyson Fury was fighting Klitschko. We were talking about boxing, and like I was like, Klitschko is like made of steel, and then literally the scientist was like, oh, did you know in space, if you get two bits of metal that are in space and they collide together, like they'll fuse together?
Really?
And I was, yeah, that's exactly what I did. So I was like, okay, I believe you because you're a scientist. I did then go and Google it as well, and it was they were telling the truth. So, and then literally it just span out of there. So I was like, what about if there was an ancient metal which you could like fuse to like an organic person? And then as it kind of built up, the lore kind of just came together. So what we see here is Robert is the main character, and he's special. He's the only person on the planet that has, instead of iron in your blood, he's got Orium. And so there's a scene where I've kind of shared that quite a lot, where he's in like an electric chair and he's being tortured essentially, but it's not, they're experimenting on him to see what he can actually achieve, because inside of his blood is the Orium, but Orium has the power to heal pretty much anything. And because obviously he keeps getting essentially electrocuted and whatnot, a mysterious voice starts to talk to him and basically helps him break out. He starts in reflections, he sees an older version of himself in a white suit, kind of like telling him what to do, like getting him through it all. And as it goes on, you kind of realize something's not quite right about this voice. It's all of those things that I've ever written it's about hope. So Robert's trying to hold on to a bit of hope and humanity that he has, despite everyone kind of wanting him for their own agenda. So and then it just kind of ramps up. Like, it's a four issue story. This first one is essentially like a lot of threads, and as we go along, we're going to tie them up and everything. But the big overall goal is, after these 4 issues, I've got about 4 other stories that I want to do, and but they
in the same universe.
So Orium's gonna be in each one, but different. There'll be something different, and then if I manage to do all 16 issues, like I kind of want to do like what Mark Miller's done, and like do a big game kind of arc where all of those stories kind of come together. And there's big dreams, but I'm starting off small.
And it's good to have those. Like, I'm someone like that, right? Like, I will, like, for the last 20 odd years, I've been writing stories and short films and all this stuff, feature films. And now, in the last 6 years since I come back into this, because I've been away from the whole comic scene for over a decade, and it's like, I'm now, all those little things that were doing their own little stories are now becoming part of the bigger story that I'm doing now. So the world becomes bigger, and that's why I asked you, like, is it ongoing? And I like that. I think just doing like one-off things, it's kind of like you're just dipping your feet and just seeing if it works or not. But if you have if your backers realize that you are in here for a long haul, and you have this idea that's more 16 down there, which is like going to take you about 4 or 5 years, right, to get it done with the way things go. So you're here for 5 years at least, making this work with the artist, or for however long. And I think people want to see that certainty now because I think they're tired of, somebody just coming in, doing one, and going away. And I love the fact that people are world building now because I'm a world builder, and I'm for everything I'm doing, I'm creating bigger worlds for it. And one of my guys went the other day. It's like, oh, you know what? We're doing this isekai. You know what isekai is, right? Parallel worlds in manga.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm doing one called Zoolander, based on the shape of it's basically another New Zealand, but 1/10 the size. And he said, we're sending all these people over there throughout our history and modern day and all that. What if one of those come over here? And I went, that's a great idea because I've just created a story for this other guy over there that we got called Howler. So you know what? Let's make that main character, main forebear, whatever, that guy, and we'll just put in our story, in the story that you're working on, that he came away from there a couple hundred years ago, and now he's on our Earth. That's it. Nothing more, right? Nothing else in that story. But and that's why I like how you were talking about big game, and I think it allows for people to believe in you as a creator and believe in your story in Orium. That's why I'm like really excited, because I was like, yeah, if you're going to go bigger, then I want to be there for the long haul. It'd be great to watch you, carry on writing your stories, because everybody that comes on here, I kind of like look at their work and, figure out how I'm going to get it, because at the moment I'm just doing digital buys because of freight, right? And I look at it for my, I've got mine coming over into Kickstarter next month, and I'm like thinking the same way. Well, some people can't afford the freight, so digital's, so I like seeing what you're doing, and I love the artwork. So how did you get how did you find your artist, and how did you go about doing that, bud?
Fiverr. Like I looked and looked. I spoke to my friend and I was like, "Hey, man, like you can draw. You want to draw a comic for me?" And he was like, "No, I'm too busy." Another friend who can draw, I was like, "Hey, do you want to do a comic?" Again, he wasn't too busy. He turned around and was like, "Look, if I'm going to draw anyone's comic, I'm going to do my own." And I was like, "That's fair enough." He still hasn't done his own. But like, it's still. I was like, "You'll get paid." He's like, "Yeah, no. If he does get around to it, he'll do his own."
Yeah.
So I was kind of lost. I went through like 3 or 4 different artists on Fiverr first, like going through all the work that they've done, getting I ended up spending maybe like £200 alone just getting concept art originally from each one to see who kind of fit. And then I ran into Giulio Paparotta, who is the artist on this, and it just kind of fit. Like I've always been like a fan of like Philip K. Dick, like the kind of like the dark sci-fi kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he actually doesn't do a lot of black and white stuff. Like his Instagram's filled with black and white stuff, but on his Fiverr it's just all color work. And then but like I was dead set on doing black and white. 2 reasons: it's cheaper,
of course,
and what got me back, like, because I loved comics as a kid. Like my dad got me into comics with Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew. I fell out. I kind of fell out of comics throughout high school. Like that's when girls football, like going out with my friends, kind of replaced that, and then I kind of. Me and my friend, like we were big into Call of Duty Zombies, and we saw the first issue of The Walking Dead and picked that up, and ever since, like literally we picked it up when it came out, and then since then, like I've just been back into comics, to be honest. And I've looked a lot into like what Robert Kirkman did, and like the goal, like the dream, is to emulate what he's done with The Walking Dead, because who doesn't want a TV show with a multi-million-pound franchise kind of thing? But obviously,
I mean, if you look at how he did that, like his editor, right? I can't remember his name right now, had a lot of input into how that came about, how the story actually developed and what he was thinking and what happened there. So have you, when did you take the story to anyone, and go, what do you think of that?
like I've done like everything essentially on like a massive budget. Like I've lettered everything myself.
Right.
Like the artist has done the inking and the artwork.
No,
There's
no, I meant
literally
like the
oh
story
like
editing and stuff. Because usually when I'm
oh
writing my stuff, I'm like, yeah, let's see what what somebody else says for a bit, or I'm okay with this. I know what I'm doing here. But
like I can't like I have enough self like when I'm reading it myself, I have enough self confidence to be like, yeah, and then like I'll put it down and 2 weeks later I'll read it again and be like, no, this all needs to be changed. But no,
yeah,
I didn't get an editor. What I do have is a very brutally honest friend who's like big into manga and a lot of DC and Marvel, and more of the animated, not the comics as such. But he's got
yeah,
a good eye for stories. So I kind of was like, listen, man, I gotta like just speak to you for like the next 2 hours and then I need you to be honest with me. So
yeah,
I ran through the whole story, the whole concept, like all the little bits with it. And essentially I ripped it off and started again and
yeah,
we went through it again and he's gonna be reading it before it goes out. But essentially, yeah, I've had a very luckily I've had a very honest friend who doesn't mind telling me when something's bad. And I feel like, and because you're paying an editor, they'll tell you when something's bad, but like they
yeah.
won't tell you with that colorful language that an honest
Yeah,
friend will
that's not
tell
a
you.
working bugger, sort that out, and all that. And I think you need that. I mean, I myself published my first story, and then I looked at, the comment was it's too many words, and I looked at it and said like, I cannot compete on a comic shelf with this. So went and found another artist, rewrote the script from scratch, right? Kept some the main core elements in it, but a lot of it was rewritten because I realized that you know to be out there in the market and expect people to pay for it is different towards when you just do it for yourself, and you want to get out there. And I think that's what I love about the artwork here. And you're right, it's really good. The black and white artwork, it's really good. It reminds me of one of my artists, but it's just such a great sort of style. It's that European style that I like, and it's got this real, I what you call it, like gosh, kind of like heavy metal, kind of metal houlant look, and it's just great. And it's just there's one image that I haven't put on there, but like it's the one that we used on our on the promo. But it was such a cool and it's kind of like it's not a superhero story, is it? It's more like a hero's journey type stuff.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna lie, I always wanted to do a superhero story, but then the more I kind of wrote the story, I was like, "Ah, I don't
Mm.
think I'm a superhero. Like, I want to write a superhero story eventually in the future, but I don't think
Yeah,
I've got a superhero like I don't have that kind of. Do you know how they can be quite light-hearted at points? I know there are like your
yeah,
anti-heroes and stuff. It's like a lot of the stories that I've always written are like really heavy, kind of touch upon things which
mm,
not personal, but like just like quite deep. Like this one
yeah,
is obviously Robert doesn't know essentially who he is. Like later on,
mm,
you find out some issues happened with his family and whatnot, and yeah, he's just trying to be a good person, and
mm.
the odds are kind of stacked against him. And I know that it sounds very superhero esque, but it's like
Well, I mean, I
yeah,
think it's a deep story, right? It sounds like a real deep story. Someone dealing with something that's very unique to him personally, and but like, how do you deal with something like that? When you're totally different down to your DNA, right? You've got this friggin' metal instead of iron, which is everybody's got it, but you're that uniquely different. And I'm not sure if there's more characters like him around, or more similar personalities around like him with that same sort of aurium in their bodies, because I want to learn that as I'm reading it, right? So I think, and I don't want that spoiled for me because that's the journey, right? Enjoying a good book. Now, I was thinking like, when you were like trying to work out how it was all going to come together for your plots and how to step around things, how did you what was your process? Like, did you write it down, or did you have it all in your head, or did you just get it all down in one go and then leave it and then go away and come back?
So it started I think the beauty of it was because it started as like a 4-page comic, like that was a small self-contained story, and then I was like, okay, well, the funny thing is that 4-page mini story is not even in this. That's something that will happen like in issue. Well, it probably in a completely different arc because. But yeah, the process was literally. I had the idea for Orium and I built around it. Like the whole image when he's in like the electric chair came from I was watching a documentary about how they used to do electric shock treatment on people. And I kind of had this like again like a short story in my head. I was like, oh, this is cool, where it was like so a patient's getting electric shock treatment and then it kind of sends their consciousness into the future. And it's them being released from prison, and then the consciousness comes back to the point where obviously they're getting the treatment, and then they're thinking like they're gonna keep me locked up here in prison, so they like murder a few people to try escape, and that's what puts them in prison. So I was like, oh, okay, so like I can use bits of that and pop that into Orium. So it's just random bits of things, and then once I've got all these random scenes in my head, I literally just put on some classical music and I just kind of sit there and write. And depending on like I will go out of my way to like I'll stop writing to kind of find the right bit of music, because like I said, I love all types of music, but when I'm writing, like I just feel like you can with classical music there's no words to this to like throw you off course, because I'll end up singing. Like if I'm sitting there writing and like it's a really catchy song, I'm going to start singing along with it. But I can kind of tune in with classical music and like hit on emotional beats with it. And a lot of scenes that I actually write are written to like classical music. Like you could play this, like you could read it while listening to it, and when things happen it will match up with like different parts of the song.
That's pretty
cool. I should plan on doing that. I just write like the rights issues and whatnot, but
I was thinking like maybe you could like in the end of the book you could notate on page thing, such and such, or this is the music you can listen to while playing it. Because for me I like silence, like I just don't like any noise because I don't want to be distracted. I'm very easily distracted by things. So, I'll just quiet. And I write in the middle of the night, like till 5 or 2 in the morning or 9, whatever. And that's when I get, feel like writing. And so I'll have everything off, like all the lights are off except for the computer screen. And then like there's no sound outside because everybody's asleep. And then that quietness, I can think, there's no distraction.
It's like
one of the guys like John Hutchison, right? Tom Hutchison, like he's done it for about 10, 12, 15 years now. And he just says he listens to music all the time. And like, don't you find it distracting? I said, no. And I like the fact that you're listening to classical music because, like you said, you can get into the emotions of it. And you're talking about the same thing. And like, I get distracted. If I'm playing music, I'll go, getting into it, and that's it. So, it's so cool to, that's what I like about talking with people like this, because a lot of people get stuck on like, I have to do it this guy's way, or I'm not going to get it done. And I find that like, talking with everybody, or different creatives, I find that like everybody has their own thing, idiosyncrasies, right? About what makes them relax enough to write. And like me, middle of the night, daytime, I'm like struggling because of distractions. But other people just day on, they'll go for ages. Have you, talking about writing, have you started working on the second issue, or is that?
I've got the first. What was it? I was looking. I'm trying not to get too distracted because I'm still tightening up the lettering on it, because obviously this first comic, first time I've ever lettered. Not gonna lie, it's the first time I've ever used Photoshop. Like, I'm not a computer person. I wrote the original script for Oriums in a notebook, like pen and paper, and really badly pencil drawings of where I want the panels to be and how I want it to kind of look. And it's taken, and then because I looked at getting a letterer, and I was like, that's just another expense kind of thing. And I don't want to sound so cheap when I'm saying it, but it's like I got rent to pay and kids to feed and a wife to keep happy. And, like the pages are a good rate. They're $60 a page, but I've also kind of got in place with Julio that once we kind of start to make a profit, there's a profit share involved. So if Amazon or Netflix come knocking on the door like, hey, we want to buy that, like everything's like contract signed, everything's sorted with each other, because obviously I couldn't have done this without him. Like, the main thing whenever I show anyone anything from it, they're like, oh, the art's great, and I'm like, damn, that's not the part I did. Like, so but yeah,
because I letter and design myself, right? So for the past 20 odd years, I've been using a program called this one here. Let me bring it up. So because I think you would do well with this one if you're struggling with Photoshop and stuff. It's called Clip Studio Paint, right?
Okay.
And you 60% off right now. But I'm like, I just saw it because I'm on a monthly thing with these guys, and I've actually bought 2 for somebody else because I like it so much. And it's easy to letter, right? And you can choose whatever font. It's got this really great way of being it's made just for manga artists, but it's got animation as well. And let me just grab the one that I've been working on right now so you can see a bit, because I like making things easy on myself and others. It's one of the things that's like, don't reinvent the wheel, and because it's like, if you can make things easy for yourself and for others, things get done faster, right? And it doesn't take longer and stuff. So for me, I don't get easily I don't get what is it called, like writer's block, when everybody else does, because I'm jumping from project to project, and if I'm doing lettering, I'll jump over to, if I get bored, I'll jump over to design, or I jump over to coloring something, doing some flats, or writing again. And
nice.
So this one, I think I grabbed it and I left it behind. Let me grab it again. Sorry, it's on my other screen. Here we go. So one of the great things about this is that you can do so many things with this. Like, you could, for yourself, you could flatten, like if you ever decide to go to color, right, you could do colors yourself in a flatting situation. So this is what I'm doing. One of my artists, right, has just done a cover for one of our books. So I'm in here coloring it by putting in flats. And so what happens is with this here, I'm not sure has anybody told you about this, by the way, John?
I've heard people talk about it, but it's like trying to learn how to use photo. Like, well, I've learned how to use it to a degree, but like learning that, I was like, I don't want to put too much on my onto my plate. But I've heard it mentioned, and
let me find where are we? So there is this one here, like, where's my manga? Give me 1 second. Let me just grab this. This will be probably easy if I just grab it here and bring it down and go, give me a clean page. And it's doing my silly thing on the other side. But like, so here you can basically, do your lettering and stuff, design work. Yeah. Now, my artist himself did this, did the bubble here himself, but you can actually create bubbles, right? Like that.
Well, that's a lot easier.
That's why I'm recommending it, bro. Because like, I don't like things being hard, and I think the easier you can make it for people, the more I'm about that. So you've got your your bubbles, you got your tails. I mean, your thought bubbles. You got your tails. That easy. Jump in there and you go, okay, depending on the font you want to use, I use this one I paid, bought quite a while back. And you go, Bob's your uncle, right? And it'll center it for you, right? You can choose to center it. And then now it's in the center, and away you go, and you're done.
Oh, nice. That's yeah, because literally all the bubbles that are on, like all the bubbles, the rectangles, like the tails, like I've painstakingly
Everything's
be
there
like
for you,
click, click, click. Like, no,
and
I'll
I
have to check it out.
And it's cheap, and that's why I recommend it, because it's cheap. It's cheaper than Photoshop, and it's just and then you can, like, just like Photoshop, you can go in there and pick and choose your colors, and where you go, shove some
Yeah.
colors in there or whatever, like I'm doing here, right? So, and then later, you can color in the way you want, and this is all about saving money, right? Because when you're a new creator or starting out and such, you're trying to save as much money as you can, not want, but as you can, because it's such a some people don't realize how costly creating comics can be, and you've probably learned this, right?
Yeah.
Yourself, having an artist, hiring somebody to do that, then then the printing and all that, you got to learn all that stuff, and I think having a easier software that's created just for the comic creator is better than having a Photoshop product that's made for magazine producers, for photo people, and all that. But the other side of this is it's got animation, so you could create little, little ad, like trailers, video trailers later on, and yeah, and I think that's why I'm recommending it, because I want anything I can make easy for anybody else. I'm there. So, just in finishing here, right? We've got about almost time for you to leave. So, how has the process creating creating a comic been for you?
Like it started off like when I got that first page, I was like, oh wow, I'm doing it. But obviously with money and stuff, like some months, like I'm getting 5 pages. I was getting 5 pages done. Other months I was getting 1 page done, and that's what kind of really slowed it down. And it all depend, like the kids need new clothes, so I was like, right, well that's like 2 less pages that month then.
Yeah.
And so that's been quite difficult to get around, but like I have, like I've really enjoyed it. The probably the worst thing about it is now now that it's funding, and now that it's funded, and like there's 55 people who have backed it, which means it's like I have a target in my head of like how many I want it to hit, which is another reason why I put it for so long, 40 days. There's there's a top target, and then there's a small target. We haven't hit that yet. That's in my head, but I don't also want to say it and put it out in the world and jinx it. But like, I never thought 55 people would back it. So, and with about 32 days left to run on it, like I should hopefully hit the minimum target that I'm looking for. But it's now is the worst time, because I've never done it before, because the few people that have read like the short stories I've done has generally always been positive. The worst thing I've ever gotten back from short stories is your grammar is terrible, and I'm like, great, well, but like grammar is a part of comics, but it's a lot easier it's a lot easier to do. It's not as much as the short stories, but I always got good feedback on my stories and that. But I'm just now, because people have actually spent money on it, it's like imposter syndrome starting to kick in. Like, like, is it good enough? Like at the same time, like whenever you put something out there, you got to be prepared for someone not enjoying it. But at the same time, it's like I can only only hope that it goes down well. Like even if it bombs and it's like slated universally, like I still plan to get the 4 issues of Orium done and
Yeah.
have it, because then once it's done there'll be 32 pages in each one, so it will come out as a 128 page graphic novel right at the end.
Yeah.
And hopefully once the big picture's there, it's all tied together and it turns into an amazing story which everyone likes. But yeah, this one, it's got a lot of threads. There is some things answered and explained. There's a few twists and turns which I'm hoping not many people will see coming as they read through it. But like you said, with it's difficult kind of trying to explain Orium because
Yeah.
there's so many things. It's essentially like a mystery, like and it's like I don't want to give too much away because it kind of defeats the purpose of reading it, and you won't feel it. Like I know every time I've sent a page to my artist, like obviously there's slower pages where it's like we're just trying to get from A to B to the next point, but like the last page I sent him, he was just like, wow. And I was like, oh, that's like if you're happy with it, then like hopefully other people will be as well. So that's my biggest issue with it at the moment. Like the creating process, like the writing it, I was cool with. Learning how to Photoshop and letter. Like I've seen worse, so I'm like, okay, I'm happy with it. I can only improve. So yeah, my biggest issue is now just feeling like, oh god, well bad, no one likes it. But yeah, I just gotta get over that. But I'm sure I will. Like,
Well, once the first one's out, you'll feel a bit more relaxed. I think, it's like I've done this now. Now I know what I'm doing and how. And each time, like last year when I did mine, I was like, I got to throw everything at it. And now I'm like, I know what happened, and I know what I need to fix, what I can do better, and I'm more relaxed about it. And I think you'll feel the same way as well. It was daunting, man. It was like really stressful, and I understand where you're at right now, and but like once because you've already got the amount that you need to go, but everything now is I mean, you have your figure in your head, and so with doing all these shows and stuff, and just being your positive self. And I think you're going to get what you want out of this. I mean, it's a first book. It's always the hardest one. Like I've asked everybody about it. The first time they're on Kickstarter, it's the same thing because everybody's suspicious. Like, is it gonna, is it gonna be delivered? I mean, like, how long it's gonna be, and so on. And one thing I want to ask, like, how's your freight? Did you do your numbers on your freight? Good. Right, you added the freight in, or just where are you? It ships everywhere. So have you looked at that cost of freight?
I did. I just looked at like the Royal Mail, like over here in the UK. Like, it won't weigh horrendously too much. So getting it out to places, I wasn't looking that morning. I think it was like 10 to 12 pounds was the maximum, and that was like getting it over to your side. Sending it over to America isn't too bad. I think it's like I think it's about $8 to $10 depending on the weight, but it's not going to be like a big hefty. It's a floppy, so it's not too bad. The main thing is getting the right packaging to keep it all protected. But the shipping and stuff. I was looking at like Kickstarter offers like a thing which is like, hey, we'll do it if you pay us X amount, and then I just literally jumped over to, because my wife, she runs her own business and she only does the UK. But like I was looking at the Royal Mail to send stuff to America, to Canada, South America, you guys over there, like New Zealand, Australia. So I was like, oh, it's not horrendous. It's my biggest expense will be sending over a load of, because I want to send over about quite a few copies over to Bentbox over in America. They're going to take them to conventions and stuff out there. So that will be an expensive one. But like I said, like my whole goal with Orium was just getting it into people's hands. I'm nowhere near making a profit. Like the money's not really been, it's the backers I'm looking at. So I want to hit a certain number of backers, and I'm nowhere near making any money on it, but that
Yeah.
wasn't the point of it. So
I mean, that's where we were with our one. Like, we didn't make anything really to say, we made bank. It's just covered what it needed to cover. And that's what, like I said, every first one's going to be like that. But the second one, now that people know you, are more, secure with how you are, that you deliver on, what you say you're going to do. Because a lot of people don't, there's some people that just run away. And I think that's a safety net that you will have, because, when you deliver, people go, yeah, he gave me the book that I wanted, And one of the other things I was thinking, like, because you're saying, like, bent box and delivering a whole package, couldn't they, like, print off in America?
That's gonna be the goal for future issues and other projects, and it'll be vice versa. So the ones that their comics, Chris and John's comics, eventually will get sent over to me as well, and I'll print them off over here. And but with this being my first one, it's like I kind of want to make sure like everything is like it's my baby. Like, so I started making it before I jumped in with Bent Box. So eventually, once the printing sorted out over there and printing sorted out here, we can both kind of be like, oh great, your printing's cool, my printing's cool, let's just do it that way, because it is, will save a fortune. So
so this is Bent Box here. So like ourselves, as a publisher with Rising Sun Comics, is another publisher that is offering what sort of, like, what sort of situation have you got with these guys with the publishing and stuff like that?
We just kind of started chatting, and it's the kind of thing where it was just like, hey, do you want to jump on with us? Like, I read their comics. I was like, you got great comics. So I was like, it'd be great to be part of it. And eventually, like, we will do the thing where people in the UK and Europe that want to get a physical copy, because it was costed at the time, it was like $20 just to ship it over. So it's kind of like that's a lot of money, like and that's not even the price of the comic. So eventually that we kind of were like, well, if we can do that for each other, it kind of makes sense. And who knows, if we ever do get like really massive, we can start jumping over the pond to each other and kind of like going to conventions all together. But they're doing a lot of conventions. They're doing amazing with all their work, and they're just great guys. So I was like, once they floated it to me, I was more than happy to be like, yeah, I'll be there for it.
Awesome. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. And being on, coming on, all the best, man. I'm going to go check it out. Like, I know I can get digital, so I'm going to get digital, right? And then when the trade comes, I'll look forward to the trade and then get them all at once. And because, like I said, if it's always up after a while for me. So I think about everybody else as well when it comes to the freight costs. But I can back it with a digital, and I can read it on my phone. I can, like I mentioned the other day, that you can read it anywhere, waiting in line for freaking doctors and stuff.
Like a couple pages here and there. Yeah, no worries. No,
you're not bothering anybody and not getting impatient, because that's one thing I think a lot of people, while waiting, they get impatient and edgy. But like, if you've got a comic book and you're reading it there, people go, oh, what's that? You can tell them this is a comic book that somebody created. You can actually buy it and read it on your phone, and so especially if you don't want, if you're not into like collecting comics, you can actually, for a couple bucks, read it on your phone. And I think it's a great way to be able to share other people's work as well as enjoy yourself. So thank you for coming on, John. Do you have any last words?
Thanks for having me. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Like, I love jumping in the other day and like seeing what you're doing. So keep it up, man. Like, getting the word out there, doing these videos, it like helps out creators massively. And like I might do some shares on Twitter, but like these videos are what really like pushes people and like gets eyes out there, and they'll be there forever now unless you want
like,
to.
I'm looking at like 15-year-old videos at the moment, like of concert and stuff, and not even 15, like 40-year-olds, because people have put up like old Metallica Megadeth videos, right? From VHS that they've got, and it's just wonderful. And I think this is, like you said, this is going to be here for 40-50 years, as long as YouTube is around, and it's a good way to build up a long-term following. And I think that's what I was thinking. Like if you're doing 16 issues, you'll be coming on here for 16 times, right? So on
If you
and
have
going
to,
on other
yeah.
people's and everybody else's, and got a whole sort of following built up from one little first step book, and that's why I like the fact that you're thinking long-term, and hopefully, you'll be here with us for the long term, because I'm going to be around for another 15 years doing this. So
Yeah, I'll
thank you
be
so
here,
much.
man.
You have
No
a great
worries.
day,
Thanks for
man.
having me on, man. See you later. Have a good one.
Send me a link for the other place you're going to be on. I'd love to check out.
Yeah, no, I will do, man.
Thank you. You have a good day, mate.
You too,
Good
man.
chat.
See you later.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us for this, very cool, very quick, very interesting little book that I just thought was really, I saw the art and I loved it. And now to find out what it's about, Orion, it just, it kind of almost feels like it's like, Wolverine being born with that, but then it's like he got it later. And I was like, wouldn't it be interesting that you could do that with something in your body? And that's the thing about being a creative person. You develop the idea over time. It doesn't, some stories will come to you and you got it right there like that. But some, it takes a bit of work, and, takes getting information, takes getting research and stuff. And, some you'll just like hear a whole bunch of stories and you go, ideas will jump into one thing and you'll be there writing for a whole freaking book for, 60, 70 pages in one setting. Other ones will be like pulling teeth. But either way, you have to develop it to where it goes from just being an idea to working to be a really great book. And that's what I like about what John was saying there. Please, go check out his book. I mean, it's it's not that expensive. It's the workable price. It's like $9 for digital, right, for New Zealand. So which is right about $2-3 US or something like that. No, I think it's about $5 US, I would say, something like that. So, it's kind of the standard price now for digital, because just because it's digital doesn't mean that it costs cheaper to produce, right? Because you still got to pay the artist, still got to pay the letter, or if you're doing it yourself, the time that goes into it. I know how much time I spend on these things, and it's around the clock. So thank you for joining me today. Please go check out Orion Saga, and it's here we go. Is that the link for it? No, that's the link for the other one. So the link's in the chat. So please go, go check out John's book. So wherever, when finishing, like always, wherever you are, be well, be safe. If you've got a loved one close by, give them a hug and a kiss. And if they're not, let them know that you were thinking about them. Put out some happy posts and let them know. That will bring a smile to their face. If you've got something funny or jokey to talk about, some beautiful artwork, anything to brighten up somebody's day. Give them, send them a text message or something. Let them know you're thinking of them. My way of doing it is just put up some funny thing, posts and stuff, amongst all the friggin' promotion stuff, right? But I just like seeing all the beautiful artwork that comes out, the memes that come across my page. It brightens up my day, because I'm looking at a screen most of the time. So wherever you are, be well. We'll see you later on. Ka kite anō.